Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the SWB podcast, the first edition of Joe and I trying to get sweaty with some rankings. You want to say hi, Joe?
Hey, Dom. Hey, everybody.
There you go. Thanks for all that dead air. You ruined the intro already. So, anyways, Joe and I we're gonna try to do maybe semi-bi-annually weekends of some top 12, top 24 rankings here by position. Uh, Tonight we're gonna start with some running backs because that's what you guys are here for. There's only so many. You better get them if you don't want to do your homework.
Better get them. Get at me.
Uh, but me and Joe are gonna pick each other's brains and see what he thinks inside the top 12.
Get your notepads out, fellas. I'm about to give you your picks for the 2020 draft.
I'm writing down everything Joe's gonna do, so I remember to upbid him. Take notes, boys.
Dom's always taking advantage. If you guys really believe this is
James
how I'm
Cotter, sorry,
drafting,
Joe.
please.
Some other
He's not even a bust. He was a bust last year. He can't be a bust 2 years in a row.
the other guy that was supposed to fill in for him, Joe told him about me. I got him.
Let's get this show on the road.
Let's get this started. So let's start off one, two, three, any order. How do you want to give it, Joe? See if you differ from me.
I think we're probably going to be on the same page, and if the 10 other owners aren't on the same page as us, I think they have probably a screw loose in their head.
Should probably get out of the league.
But how could you not pick Christian McCaffrey at the 1? Can we agree? I mean, do we need to talk about that, or do you have somebody else at the 1?
I have someone else one because you're just a sheep, Joe. No running back.
Please, there's no such thing as regression there.
No
Teddy
running
Bridgewater,
back.
he's
No
healthy.
running back is gonna go number one RB 2 years in a row. It just doesn't happen.
Adrian Peterson, how quickly we forget.
You forget. Now look at the guy.
This dude's young. He's got young legs. He's the first overall pick.
I mean,
as
I'm
far
not
as
telling you
running
I
backs are
made him.
highest.
I'm not saying I have him ranked number 8, but he's number 2 for me.
Okay, well, he's 1 for me. Who's your 2?
The guy who burned me this year, the guy I spent 64
Saquon Barkley?
unadmitted dollars to while I was going to check on Chase. There's a reason why I bought him last year, and there's a good reason why I'll probably buy him again this year. I think he's
not
come
even
back.
in my top 3, Dom.
I think Daniel Jones kind of messed him up there middle of the year. Nobody was respecting Daniel Jones as a ball slinger, and I'm expecting him to find his lanes again this year.
I mean, he's a stud. He's a workhorse. You already know that. I mean, last year could have been called his sophomore blues, sophomore slumps, but I think the New York Giants knew that that season was going down the toilet anyway, so they might as well salvage him and keep him somewhat healthy, and baby him, and also let Daniel Jones kind of get comfortable back there. So, yeah, he's definitely going to bounce back. I just don't have him as top 3 for me.
I'm just not going to write him off. So, yeah, like I said, Barkley, McCaffrey, my number 2, and Zeke's going to be my number 3 this year.
And Zeke's my 2.
All right, Joe. So where do you got? Who do you got at your 3?
So the 3 is the question mark here. I got Derrick Henry. I mean, you've seen his calves, you've seen his arms. Tannehill signed his contract. I mean, this team's gonna be pushing forward, bro. This dude's a stud.
It's just, I think you're a fan. I think you're a fantasy counselor sheep.
Let me give you an SED real quick, okay? Derrick Henry, even the top 4 running backs we just named, he's the 4th best running back as far as with a blocking team in the NFL. So they did like a bunch of stats, these SEDs that I was looking at, and yards per carry. They're ranked 4th on that list, and I think the Saints were 1st overall. Obviously, the Saints. We'll probably talk about Kumar a little bit later and why he's probably successful. But out of those 4 running backs we just mentioned, the Tennessee Titans have the best offensive line according to the SEDs.
Okay. No, I mean, I can't sit here and tell you you're wrong. I mean, these are your rankings. I mean, I could tell you that I've got Derrick at number 7 on my ranking. I equate most of that to his lack of pass catching work as a running back. because you know how fast those points can add up. If you can catch the ball and you can run 20 yards, that's more valuable than a guy who, what are you doing out there on third and long? You're pass blocking. Everybody
You're
knows
feeding
it.
it to
You're
him.
pass
You
blocking.
feed it
No
to
one's looking. No
him.
one's looking at Derrick Henry on third and long.
He took David G. Rizzo to the promised land.
You
Okay.
don't let Alvin Kamara just, shimmy on by you and go, oh look, he's not going to block me. I'm going to get to the
Have you
quarterback
seen
because
that
the
guy?
guy's going to be
Have you watched the
gone.
game where he's ran the ball?
Guy's going to be. I've seen him run the ball.
He'd run Saquon Barkley over.
And I don't want to admit it, but I will. But I was a huge Derrick Henry advocate his first 2 years. I drafted him both times. I'm like, there's no way Deion Lewis is still going to get carries away from this guy. Look at him. And for 2.5 years, they refused to give Derrick Henry the ball. And now the guy's a monster. Just like I thought he was.
Let's go to 4.
4.
I got Saquon Barkley there for myself, but
okay,
I've already told you why.
And I just touched on Kamara. I got Kamara mostly because of his passing down ability. So, he might not lay out the block on third and long, but if he rubs his defender and gets out towards the sidelines, we've seen it plenty of times. He's housed it. So I like him there.
I've got Kumar a little bit later. I actually have him at 10 this year. Ooh. Dropped him back a little bit.
You thinking?
I mean, look, he's got Breeze. Breeze stays healthy. You got Michael Thomas. He's going to be hitting over the middle. That opens things up. Breeze also is, I guess, Breeze is more like a Baker Mayfield that releases that ball quick, but he's got the offensive line to protect him because he's an old man. He's got to stay protective, so that opens the game up with a dump pass to Kamara. And he's also got some skill at just running the ball too when things are open up because guys are typically dropping back in coverage because Breeze is such a passing threat quarterback. So, yeah, Kumara is going to be a top 10 running back. I just don't have him in my top
are you
half
saying
of that.
Kumara? Like
whatever.
Kumbaya?
Kumbaya, my lord.
It's Kamara.
Kamara. Come on, man.
Okay. My number 6, I got Dalvin Cook.
We're at 5. Hold on, homie.
That was my 5. Kamara was my 5.
Who's your 4?
1, 2, 3. Oh, no. Kamara was my 4.
Okay, who's your 5?
5 is Dalvin Cook.
Okay. Well, tell me why is your 5?
Just the offense. The Minnesota offense. They are run heavy. They've always been run heavy. They want to run the ball. They want Dalvin Cook to run the ball. They do not want Kirk Cousins throwing the ball. They got rid of Stephon Diggs so they didn't have to worry about throwing him the ball because they don't want to do it. So they'll just have Thielen running slot routes and Cook running the ball up the middle, and that's what they want their offense to be. Very boring. They didn't like Diggs going out there going, you throw the ball up to me 4 times, I'm going to put 100 yards in the touchdown up every week. So they got rid of him.
Yeah, Cook finished 5th last year in overall fantasy points in our league. And not to mention he missed 2 games, I think, due to injury. So, granted, he plays those 2 extra games, stays healthy. He's probably top 3 running back last year. I actually have Dalvin Cook as 7. I have him dropping off a little bit just because of the receiver situation. They obviously had 2 threats there last year. I know they picked up somebody in the first round, but unless he, that first round pick makes a significant difference, I think they're going to key on Dalvin a little bit more. So I think he's going to regress a little bit. So right. I got him dropping back a little bit.
Actually, the more I look at it, I'm actually wondering how I put Cook in front of Henry, but I think it was just kind of the offense. And I think if you look at it from a quarterback perspective, I would take Kirk Cousins over Tannehill at this point, just because I'm not fully sold on the Tannehill, but you'll find that out next week in our QB rankings.
You ready for my 5?
Yeah.
For all our viewers. Are you ready for it?
Yeah. I hope it's a guy on your hat, not your shirt, Joe.
It's Nick Chubb. I got him at 5. I mean, everybody knows what the Browns did this offseason with their offensive line. They got a tight end too. That's a big threat. It's just going to open up the game more. Chubb could have been a top 3 running back, but let's not forget Kareem Hunt's in the backfield.
Let's not forget the 7 goal line carries he had against Buffalo, and he got -2 yards.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, Chubb's going to be top 5 running back this year. Granted, he stays healthy because the Browns have to have a successful season this year or they're starting over again because they have so much talent around them. And after last year's letdown, this is it. It's either now or they're going to go back to finding another quarterback. So, and
You
then
want you
by
want to know
that
where I
time,
got
Chubb will be
Chubbed?
over. Where do you got Chubb?
Number 10.
That's sad.
I got Chubb in the back. I'm starting to listen to the counselor a little bit. I think he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. What's
Don't
he
be
saying about Chubb? Don't be a sheep
don't
because
be a
there's Kareem
sheep.
Hunt's back there. Kareem Hunt's not even going to.
Kareem Hunt outscored Nick Chubb in 8 of 6 games, or 6 of 8 games they played in
Well,
PPR.
we moving on to the next
Yeah,
one.
move on. I already told you. After
Who do you got 6?
I
We're
got
in 6.
6 is Derrick Henry.
Okay, so I'll just talk because we all know about Derrick Henry already. 6, I've got Josh Jacobs from Oakland, and I had him
It's
last
Las
year.
Vegas.
Oh yeah, Las Vegas this year if that
Welcome to
stadium
the
gets ever
NFL,
done.
Joe.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Josh Jacobs suffered a significant injury last year. He was actually injured, I think, 8 weeks out of the season. He ended up not playing 3 or 4 of those games, and he's still a top 16 running back. So I think he was averaging around 15 points a week. You do the math, if he plays those 3 or 4 games he missed out, he's easily a top 10, if not even higher. So this is his sophomore year. Vegas, Vegas has got their hands in on
Vegas,
something. They're going to
baby.
have to put a team out there to produce, and it's probably fixed. We all know that. So expect big things from Josh Jacobs.
I'm on the opposite side with Josh Jacobs. I've got him down at 12. I actually hate him. I wish I could put him farther down, but I won't due to workload. I don't think the production's going to be there this year. I'm not in on the whole Vegas team right now. Any of those guys, they showed you what they wanted
Well,
to
you
do.
better be. It's all
They
about
showed
entertainment in
you what
Sin
they
City.
wanted to do when they drafted another quarterback in the first round or another wide receiver in the first round this year.
But they needed one.
They got him.
Antonio Brown gone. Ammo tried to sell you what's his name all year with his 3 targets a game.
I don't even know who he is. Who they
Nobody
get?
knows
Did
who
they
he
get?
was.
They get CeeDee Lamb or no? They took Rugg. They just took the fastest guy. They took Henry Rugg, who's actually considered
That opens it up even more. And they got
he was
Darren
considered the
Waller.
third best wide receiver on his own team at Alabama, and they took him first wide receiver off the board.
It's John Gruden, okay? Let's be realistic here.
The guy won a Super Bowl with Warren Sapp.
So let's move on to 7. Who do you got at 7?
7. This is Aaron Jones for me. I like Green Bay. I like their offense. I think Aaron Rodgers is still going to move the ball around this year, and Aaron Jones proved last year that when he's given the full workload and even the trust in his quarterback to throw him the ball, he was productive at all aspects, including the red zone. I think he led all running backs in touchdowns, in total touchdowns, with an astronomical amount. But I don't expect him to get there. But he's still going to be a vital part of Rodgers, Adams, and Jones are going to be the only guys moving the balls around.
Yeah, I don't even have Aaron Jones in my top 12. I see some regression here. I think he's a top 20 running back, don't get me wrong, but I think Green Bay is getting a little shaken up right now. A lot of Aaron Rodgers rumors. I think there's going to be some diversity over there, and I don't see Aaron Jones doing what he did last year. So, he's not my top 12. My number 7 is actually Dalvin Cook, and we kind of went over why he's a top 12 running back. So we can move on to 8.
It's kind of low for him, but the consensus had Dalvin Cook at number 4, if you're wondering. The cheapest. We are at 8. This is where it kind of gets silly, I guess. I got Joe Mixon. I know he finished the year off really hot last year. He was one of the top running backs after the bye week they had. Also, Cincinnati was kind of in a weird mode where I think they were tanking for Joe Burrows. So even if they were down 2 touchdowns in the second half, they were still like, just give Mixon the ball. And they let him run the ball a lot more in the second half of the season than they did in the first half of the season. So I don't know what's going on there, but I like to think with the addition of Burrow, they picked up that wide receiver Higgins, and they're going to get AJ Green back, and they still got Tyler Boyd, and they got John Ross at third. I think this offense is going to want to be explosive, and everybody knows it starts with the run game.
Yeah, I don't have Mixon in my top 12. However, I think with the addition of Joe Burrow, that's going to open things up and make it a little bit easier for him. So he's definitely a top 20 running back, maybe in a top 15, right on that border there. But I had here's like a little curveball for everybody at 8, Leonard Fournette. A lot of people were questioning him last year, but he actually finished 9th in statistics. So I have him moving up one spot this year because I think there's going to be a little bit more consistency with those young receivers. And then
positive regression for a guy who touches the ball
Minshew
200 times. You should get more than 2 touchdowns.
He doesn't. He averages like 15 carries a game.
He had to have averaged more than that. I don't have the numbers in front of me.
I
but
looked at it.
He was like a 20 touch back.
So
game.
20 touch. He's like 15, maybe 18 max. But here's another stat for you. That's SCDs I followed on Leonard Fournette. He is the 4th highest targeted running back in the league. So I see him moving up a spot with some consistency with Minshew and the other 2 receivers. What is it? Dwayne Westbrook and DJ Chalk or whatever.
Even with the they declined his 5th-year option. They tried to trade him before the draft.
Now he needs to get his money. This is it. This is a big year.
They're going to sit him.
And let's talk about his climate he's playing in Jacksonville. Okay, he's got 8 games in the warm climate. Not to mention he goes to Indianapolis for a game. That's in a dome. I mean, who else they got down there in that division? Houston. There's another warm climate. So
it's a dome.
Yeah, I mean the kid's playing 12, 13 games on turf and warm weather. This is a great pick. He's going to finish in top 10 for sure. And I have him, I think, what do I have him at 8 here? So
I have Fournette at 17.
Wow. I hope we are drafting together this year.
I mean, I look at the offense and it doesn't blow me away. So I'm not going to hook myself to a running back. And, unless I need the production.
Minshew scored more points than Aaron Rodgers on your fantasy team last year, Dom.
Yeah. That didn't stop Aaron Jones.
Please, dude.
Anyways, Joe, you start this one. You're at number 9.
Yeah, this one's another – my 8 through 12 are, like you said, a little bit probably different than most guys for a number of reasons. But my number 9 is Clyde Edwards, the first running back that was taken by the Kansas City Chiefs this year. I see him from an NCAA championship moving into a Super Bowl football team. I'm not saying he's the best running back in the draft, but I'm saying he's the best running back that went to the best football team in the draft. I mean, you've got an all-star tight end, all-star quarterback, all-star receivers. I mean, it's just like if you've got any talent, any running back could have went there and been successful.
But you're saying he's first-round talent or early second-round talent.
And if you look at the numbers as far as what he did in college, I know there was 2 running backs that got drafted that have higher yards, J.K. Dobbins and Jonathan Taylor from Wisconsin had more rushing yards than him. But all the running backs that got drafted this year in 2020, he actually had the most targets, as a running back out of the backfield from LSU. And he had like 500 yards receiving out of the backfield. So don't tell me Mahomes isn't going to want to just dump it off to him. So, yeah, he's going to have a successful year. He's a top 10.
You're saying another Kareem 2.0?
Possibly.
All right.
So he's my 9.
I've got Edwards down at 18 right behind Fournette. So it looks like your 8, 9, 10 looks just like my 18, 19, 20.
Coming from the guy who drafted Josh Jacobs last year, a rookie.
That's nice. I drafted Kareem Hunt his rookie year in the 3rd round.
Oh, yeah? How many rings do you have to show for that?
I'm just saying, roll on. Anybody can find them, but I ain't going to take them in the second round.
That's why they need to listen. Chase, if you're out there, you might want to press rewind on that.
All right. My number 9, I'm starting to get on the Miles Sanders hype train for Philadelphia. If Philadelphia isn't looking to add Carlos Hyde, as the rumors
who do you have?
say.
Sanders, you said?
Miles Sanders.
Is he still in the NFL after his freshman year?
He's only a sophomore, or is he? Yeah, he's
sophomore slumps. We forget what those are.
He could sophomore slump, or he could finally get who's over there? Doug Marone or whatever his fucking guy, the head coaches quit running 4 running backs a game. Because when they didn't have any and they had to use Miles Sanders, you can ask this year's owner of Miles Sanders. He was a game changer there the last couple weeks of the year. He was another guy who finished in the top 5 running backs for the last 6 or 8 weeks of the season. So kind of just riding some momentum with Miles Sanders. And he comes from the same, he's a Saquon Barkley type. Not a Saquon Barkley talent, but he is that type. He kind of can do it all, and you need to give him the freedom to do it.
It was a shuffle pass. Carson Wentz did shuffle pass to Sanders in the first round of the playoffs last year. That costed me my win against Mike Kiefer. Make sure everybody is aware of that.
So you give us your 9.
Yep, I gave us a 9. We're on 10, and I'm going to let you do 10 because my 10 is Alvin Kamara.
Oh, my 10's Nick Chubb, so we already went over that.
Damn, that's are you trying to not tell the league about Nick Chubb? You think you're going to give a chance at him? So you're going to tell everyone he's 10?
Yeah, that's what I did tell. I put on this whole podcast.
Chris Amo, Robbie Laricchia, that's a $70 running back to them.
Other way.
They could have him for 70.
Yeah, right, dude. I'm gonna spend $70 on a rookie running back from Ohio State because that's where I want to put my money.
We're at 11.
11. This is a guy that the Consheepists are kind of off. They got him at 15. I've got him at 11. Chris Carson.
You're a Seattle fan, so I mean that's a no-brainer.
But
go ahead, tell me why.
I'm a 12th man. I'm a 12th man ever since Russell Wilson got there, or 13th man, whatever it is. No, 12. Chris Carson, Seattle. They run the ball. Russell Wilson makes it so they can run the ball. Very effective. I know they got Rashard Penny, who was also taking away from a lot of Chris Carson's carries there mid-season before he had a terrible injury, like an ACL injury or something. But Seattle's coach, Pete Carroll, he wants to run the ball. Marshawn Lynch, they want to run the ball. Ever since that Super Bowl.
They're a physical football team. Everybody knows that.
Right. They're going to run the ball, and they're going to let Russell win the game.
Fans are crazy there.
Chris Carson's another one of those running backs where he might not be as sexy as, Barkley or McCaffrey or Elliott, but he gets the ball just as much as anybody else. I think he was second or third in 100-yard games last year behind Chubb and Henry with 7 games of over 100 yards. And Chris Carson also did see 20% of the passing work. So, he was very involved in that too. So he got the goal line work. I said I liked him. I was really happy with what I got him for last year. And I think if somebody gets him again this year, they won't be disappointed unless Rashard Penny comes back and he's fully recovered off of an ACL injury and they go back to trying to work him in. But I think Chris Carson finishes again as an RB1 this year.
You ready for my RB1 at 11?
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor, the Indianapolis Colts. This is your next Saquon Barkley. This dude is big and physical. I think he's going to a great organization. I mean, Rivers is obviously going to be a gunslinger and open things up for him. I'd have him higher if Marlon Mack wasn't there. So it's going to take a few weeks for him to get the ball to be the number one. But by the end of the year, he'll be a top 10 running back. And I have him actually at 11. So
I've got Jonathan Taylor at number 26. So he's just out of RB2 territory. But like you said, if he gets a starting position, I would definitely move him up. But I think also they're saying that the Colts, outside of I think their game against Baltimore, they've got a pretty easy schedule the first 3 or 4 games. So it might take Taylor a little more time to
SEDs has him as the weakest strength of schedule, so that's another factor in there where they'll be able to work him in a little bit more and get him comfortable. But
Maybe some garbage time carries, but like
he'll
I
be up
said,
there. He'll be an RB1 top 12 guy for sure.
all right. I'm not saying he's not going to be the starting back by the end of the year, but if I'm looking for overall value right now, you don't want to start off 0-4 because you're trying to get Mac out there, or you're trying to get Taylor in your starting lineup when Mac's going to carry the ball 15 times a game. So my number 12, I've already mentioned this, is Josh Jacobs. Not crazy about him, but I will give him his respect from what he did last year, and keep him as an RB1 this year. And I don't have much to say about that Vegas team. I don't buy into the hype. There's a reason Antonio Brown didn't want to be there.
My 12 is Todd Gurley from the Atlanta Falcons. Everybody's always worried about his workload, his injuries. Let's just look at last year. Jared Goff was pathetic. That team actually went from, a Super Bowl contender the year before to just complete garbage, if you ask me. Not to mention, Gurley was still fourth in total snaps for running backs, according to the SEDs. So he's on the field playing. So I'm not really worried about an injury for him, but he's going to a better football team, a better offensive line. He's going to a better offense in general. With Matty Ice and the Atlanta Falcons need to make a move and a push. And I think they've got the running back that they need to make that push on offense. So I think Gurley last year ended up finishing a top 15 for sure running back. I see him being a top 12 because he goes to a better offense.
Yeah, he still got his touchdowns last year, even though his overall production was down. I'm a little off of Gurley, not completely. I have him at 16, so 4 spots past you. Some of the guys I have right in front of Gurley, though, are Austin Eckler, David Johnson, Kenyon Drake.
Kenyon Drake?
I think all those guys
Sheep?
I think all those guys are going to get majority of their workloads, and I'm not as – outside of David Johnson, who I only have 1 spot in front of Gurley, it really comes down to injury between those two. But I think Drake and Eckler also – I just think they have better roles carved out for them with their respective teams. Because, again, I'm not crazy about teams running back switching teams here, especially outside of their prime of their careers.
So let's get to good stuff. Who is your –
You want my rookie
who's your
sleep?
sleeper as of today? Your sleep. It doesn't have to be a rookie. It could be anybody. Who's your sleeper?
My sleeper, I think, is going to be – let me scroll on down here. I do like J.K. Dobbins with the Baltimore Ravens, rookie running back out of Ohio State. I'm expecting them to want to use him more than they use Mark Ingram. I think that he's going to bring another option to that defense where Mark Ingram's couldn't, maybe because of lack of speed or age or explosiveness. I think when he gets on the field with whatever that kid's name is, Lamar Jackson, I think that they're going to be able to really make it even tougher for defenses. Because I think when defenses had gotten comfortable covering Lamar Jackson because they weren't super worried about Mark Ingram. I know Mark Ingram made them pay for it a little bit, but I think on the outside chance that they're not going to be as lenient in their cover of J.K. Dobbins when he's on the field.
Yeah, I actually have him as my sleeper as well. Even though half our league went to Ohio State, he's not really a sleeper. Like you said, Ingram's only getting older. Lamar and J.K. could be a serious threat for the next 3 or 4 years. So, yeah, I could see him being a top 20 running back all day. Your biggest sleeper on the board.
Well, I guess if he's not a sleeper, since everybody knows about him now, you got another one for us, Joe?
I mean, I practically gave you one with Jonathan Taylor, and I'll just correlate that into my biggest bust. uh, Mack from the Indianapolis Colts, and he's the biggest bust because he was a top 20 running back last year. Everybody knows that statistically. So when you look at all the running backs and their performances, who's going to have the most significant drop off? And I see that being Mack, just because Jonathan Taylor is going to take a lot of his time up. Um, People could say David Johnson, James Conner, those guys are bust, but they were bust last year. I mean, I had them both, so they're not really. They can't be a bust 2 years in a row if you draft them and overpay for them. So um, another bust, I guess, would be what's Detroit's running back? Johnson,
Uh, Carry on.
Carry on Johnson. I see Swift being possibly a sleeper, so Kieran Johnson would be a bust as well. Even though he really wasn't a tier 2 running back, if you asked me last year, but I see that Swift being the RB1 there, but I don't see Swift being a top 15 running back.
My bust is gonna be it's gonna be Melvin Gordon. I think he's a big name, and people are gonna think that this is the Melvin Gordon of the Los Angeles Chargers and the Philip Rivers style Melvin Gordon. He's going into a very bland, you know, still semi-rookie quarterback in Drew Lock, who only played 5 games last year. Uh, he's going to be sharing a lot of time with Philip Lindsay, who he's going to have to prove that he is that much better than for the money they paid him to come in when they had Philip Lindsay for free as a free agent running back. Uh, so either Denver's trying to get away from Lindsay or they just think that Gordon's going to bring something, but uh, I still think they have too many questions with that young quarterback to really have an offense that's going to sustain the type of Melvin Gordon numbers that he's used to and that fantasy owners are used to. So I think Melvin Gordon, he's going to fall down there in the range of David Montgomery type of
That's
production.
that's pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, Montgomery was a rookie last year playing on a bad Chicago team. I think, and he was also losing a lot of the passing downs to Tyreek Cohen, but I just don't see Melvin Gordon being first round, second round value that Melvin Gordon usually is. One of my other busts, besides Le'Veon Bell, would have to be any running back for the Patriots. You can look at who was it? James White and Sonia Michelle. I don't see much value in either one of those guys. In either one of the roles, White he was crazy productive last year in passing downs with an aging quarterback, and I don't think Sonny Michelle is going to get much work between the tackles with whoever the Patriots have as their QB this year.
I think that whole offense changes in New England, so they may go run heavy just to get out of the games quicker, keep that clock running. So maybe Sonny Michelle has a little bit of value there, but
Yeah, he might get the work, but like I said, I don't think the production's going to be there. And
it's going to be a bad year for that team.
if Belichick is going to keep up his style, they've changed running backs a lot, just like Philadelphia. Uh, they'll run 4 running backs a game, just depending on the play or the scheme. So I don't see much value in any of the Patriots running backs. So those were our busts and our sleepers and
our top 12.
Our top 12. It went pretty well. Um, we'll try to do these, every week, every other week, maybe just to make them last a little bit. If any of you guys listening have questions that, or you want to dispute something here, let us know. Maybe we'll get you on the show. Maybe we'll read some live tweets. Maybe you guys can come over to the man cave, hang out. I got TVs. Joe's just got that flickering light in his background. But so yeah, that was it. This is how we're gonna try to do these for a little bit. Like I said, any input's good input, unless it's Chase's.
God bless the SWB Fantasy Football League and your families.
God bless
And
people.
we'll hear you. We'll hear you throughout the week. And until next time,
Stay fresh
I love you.
and sanitized. Bye.